We'll talk about those early clashes. It's gonna happen here. It's Malibuca Merstache versus the Power Alex, the Power Worthy. First tags are gonna go to Karmine Corpse Merstache though.
Yeah, that was a big shot implemented there by Merstache. It's gonna provide a lot of pressure as well, just enough for him to be able to group with Malibuca. They've already found a Flowberry Fizz. They're getting the shield online. Worthy and Alex know that they've got to be fast on these Avengers chests.
Yeah, and this is not the only contested team, right? There are gonna be other fights happening here. Play close attention to what's gonna go down though. Power Alex and Worthy do have a little bit of a disadvantage here, playing the low ground as the standoff starts to develop. Meanwhile, a quad contested drop spot for Peterbot and Foyo, who have control of their side, where Trashy and Threat seem to be in a little bit of a head-to-head.
Well, hold that thought though, because for a moment it seemed as if we were gonna, potentially be dealing with Kazi and Aspect here, but I don't see them anywhere in sight, MDF. I think right now, Swizzy, Yapko, they're just trying to do what they can to prevent themselves from being the victims of Trashy and Threats currently, but also keep in mind what Peterbot was saying earlier on. That bot is always going to be ours. Emma Frost's medallion and that mythic striker burst, that's everything that they're after, and he's already collected it.
Wow, so Peterbot and Foyo already off to a great start here. Clearly they have the advantage. Clearly they even have the respect of the teams landing here not to step center foot into their location.
It's only a matter of time, though. As soon as that reveal medallion actually procs, there's going to be 15 seconds that Swizzy, Yapko, Threats, Trashy, they're all going to be marked here at the raft. So escaping might not be the solution. They're going to have to fight their way out of this.
We've seen the interviews, we've seen, Trashy and Threat's perspective on this. They already know that they're gonna have a problem with Swizzy and Yapko, and that Peterbot and Foyo will just be waiting for their opportunity as the time continues to tick on. You can see they're doing just that, ready to possibly pounce here in the coming moments, but Vino and Clix, y'all, are here, and they are indeed contested.
The moment these names lit up on screen, you can just hear the crowd going crazy. I mean, a clear fan favorite for good reason. And I think the most incredible part about it is just listening to Clix talk about the fact, hey, we just found out a couple days ago, yeah, we are going to be contested. But for Damo and Resigns, you have to also factor in, this is familiarity for them. Sandy Steps has been their home as well.
Yeah, and this is a lot of respect coming from both sides. Clix and Vino, of course, just feeling out the playing field right now, playing the outskirts, meaning that no team can, rotate from behind them, whereas Resigns and Damo are content with their side of the map. But Middle Eastern teams are on the set here. Haman and Cow Gamer now up against the likes of CZB and Nathan, who's underneath them.
And CZB and Nathan, I think, definitely one of those teams that I think a lot of people would view as that potential underdog story. But the interesting aspect is knowing that they are going to be contested here at Grand Glacier. And what we're seeing a lot of right now, MDF, players that are just having these small, mild interruptions to their traditional loot paths, and what kind of dominoes effect that might have after the fact.
And also, just look at how many players are alive. This is about as intense as it can get when there's this much money on the line, when you have this much time, right, to wait, sit, contemplate your strategy. What are you gonna do when the call comes? You have to answer it. Chapentini here pushing the pressure, pushing the conversation right now. Agers not looking good for him. He's gonna be the first to fall, and that's one NA team down.
Bit of a tragic start there for Rise and Agers, but their downfall is Teeny and Chaps Uprising. Bound to be super happy with the elimination damage that they just secured there. Surge tags are always going to be so crucial. And in a lobby like this, MDF, we know that we have so many heavy power hitter teams. That's going to be insane to think about. You have to connect on every single shot.
Well, here's someone who's gonna do just that. Thomas HD doing an excellent job holding his high ground. He's got the angle down on the teams there in the distance. I saw Gone and Quanti as well, still at Mount Olympus. We know that they have that drop spot, not for free, but again, that southern side is theirs at the moment. Queasy and Thomas HD are gonna be happy with these tags, right? This is the bigger picture of hyper-competitive Fortnite. It just doesn't get more difficult than this. Clearly, we have a lot to talk about when it comes down to Cammy and Seti. This is a team that is a favorite and a favorite for a reason, as is Vico and Flixie, some of Europeans' strongest coming up, and I dare to say part of the new era.
Sparks already starting to fly though. Vico trying to see if he can get an overhead view onto Virgo and Shadow. A little bit of a wraparound. Virgo now trying to see if he can switch, but Shadow, he's left too exposed. Vico, Flixie, they take the opportunity. They try to collapse. A nice connection, but at the same time, Shadow still standing. Virgo knows it's time to bail. And they're gonna force themselves into a disengage, but Flixie, he's not interested in that. Flixie wants more.
Oh yeah, this is a storybook kind of conversation right here. This is something that we expected to happen. If you're gonna go up against the likes of Flixie and Vico's pathing, you just have to get out of the way or get ran down. And Virgo and Shadow are gonna be another NA team to fall here to the hands of a European juggernaut. And you know, this is, again, I have an inkling just to start for Flixie and Vico.
Hey, there's a big reason why these guys have Reckless Railways uncontested. You do not want to have to deal with some of those up-close and personal box fights early on, but Paper, Victor V, they've also found themselves in a little bit of skirmish here. Clone, alongside Kremzu, trying to make sure, but they've got to be careful. Look at the stealth opportunity here. Gon and Quanti, absolute ninjas.
They're getting really close here. A lot of danger lurking nearby, and Brazil, of course, known for what they're capable of when it comes down to jumping in and playing aggressive, and they do just that, but no, the ambush was unsuccessful. Paper, oh, so close, escapes by the skin of his teeth. Talking about Brazilian teams sneaking up. It's Persa and Ed, also on the prowl right now.
Everybody just crouch walking up to all of the commotion that this box fight is bringing just outside northwest side of Mount Olympus here. And the most important aspect though, Paper, you gotta respect that 180 turnaround, throws up the middle wall, make sure to protect himself. But Persa, they've now found an opening, but it's gonna be cut short. Victor V, Paper, all these teams starting to congest here, and a surge base on top to boot.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Persa and Ed are recognizing we have to get in a fight. Like, whether we want to or not, Storm Surge is gonna become an issue. And if you're unfamiliar what that means, when there's a certain amount of players alive, the game is gonna force you to fight other teams. Damage will start to rain in the visual of lightning bolts and take you out the game if you're not being active.
The real thorn in the side right now, though, for Victor V and Paper is it's evident that they want to get inside of that bunker. Clone and Kremzu, though, they are doing everything in their power to prevent anyone else. They might find themselves trapped at the bottom of it for a time being, though, because keep in mind, teams do like to hold whenever they find duos inside of that bunker.
Quanti and Gon also setting up, looking back inwards, trying to see what's going to happen here. Meanwhile, Victor V and Paper really wearing the results of this drawn-out fight on their loadout right here. You can see ammunition starting to run low, builds even shorter than that. It's only going to be a matter of time before this starts to go super south, so if Paper and Victor V can't step up and finish this fight soon, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, but at this point, they have to find closure. There's no opportunity to retreat. You are all in at this stage. They've invested too much time, and they know that they need more surge tag damage as well. Clone, Kremzu, more than content to sit this one out, though, because the weapon bunker is sounding, and they're going to have the advantage once it opens.
Yeah, if they get to jump down there first and, of course, secure the goods, there's going to be a lot of loot that's going to be given out to Clone here shortly, but Paper and Victor V don't want that to happen. You can see how much more urgency, right, is put behind these shots now as they're trying to push in.
Clone, Kremzu, the opening has arrived here, but Victor V, Paper, they're still, I don't want to call it hesitant, but definitely wary of what awaits them when they try to catch Clone and Kremzu exiting that bunker. Malabuka Merstash, though, they've encountered some early difficulties here, it seems like, at Restored Reels. Last we checked in, they were getting a couple of decent tags onto Alex and Worthy, but now, knowing that Malabuka is in that solo position, it's going to be tough to make his way towards a reboot ban with this much.
Undoubtedly. Look at Kanata and Cooper, though, on the move right now, trying to continue to find their way not only to the new zone, but play for this high ground, right? Looking for tags off in the distance, and very different strategy for Kanata and Cooper, where we see a lot of those other duos looking to get box-to-box fight, you know, very close quarter. They're keeping their distance almost exclusively now from other duos and other paths of duos.
But I really love this positional check, though, from Kanata and Cooper, because they've taken over a hill just northwest of Restored Reels, and they know all those duos that are far west on the map, far north, they're going to have to rotate through Cooper and Kanata. they're just, Kanata is notorious for setting up surge bases in positions where you have ample opportunity to deal some damage to other teams.
Oh, look at this. This is the clash we all expected. Vino and Clix versus Oceania's Damo there, who just rotated by. They're going to be the first to get a couple of tags and start to get the lead here. You have to be really careful. Vino and Clix are going to recognize that if they stay in the storm, what's going to happen, those other teams are going to have strong positions to give them even more of a problem later. But it seems like they want to continue to press the action here.
Kashoro, though, kind of could get caught in the mix here. Not sure if Clix and Veno have spotted him out just yet, but Kashoro, the moment that he tries to break through, that's when Clix sees small opportunity to try and bounce in here. But again, MDF, this is getting a little bit more drawn out than maybe what Clix and Veno were after.
Yeah, because Andalix and Sato were still here. They thought it was just a solo, but now they walk into almost a spider's web here. Sato and Andalix do have heals as well, so they can kind of sustain themselves for quite some time, but I'm not sure how much Andalix has to work with. Meanwhile, the GOATs of the region, the Kings of EU, the most consistent duo in the world when it comes to LAN performances in the recent years, are here.
Every view we pan over, it's like sharks in the water currently. The fact that Cammy and Seti have now decided to just stroll on over so casually, but they recognize there's no real openings for us to taste this one just yet. Let's prioritize our positioning and set, because they can always set up to intervene. Kashoro trying to do what he can to escape, but Veno's gonna shut that one down in no time. And his first elimination goes to Clix.
Vino's gonna be the first to claim it alongside Clix here for a big elimination, and that's gonna set themselves off in the right pace here. Still, pay attention on the other side. Kanata and Cooper, completely opposite situation now. As we talked about them keeping their distance, Visual and Braves are gonna step up to the plate. Let's see if they can hit this swing at bat, but nothing just yet.
Something important to consider though, Visuals and Braids, this is our duo that came in at the final hour. Just last night, they discovered that they were going to be participating on the global stage. What's their prep time look like in comparison to everyone else? But more importantly still, Braids, he's trying to make sure that he brings the fight to Cooper and Kanata. They're not willing to fold. A couple of armored walls already expended from both sides as well. Kanata still able to find the shots that matter though. And him and Cooper doing a decent job at just trying to forcibly create space.
And this is not just any backup duo here. This is a team that is very much tenured and familiar with one another. They, in fact, have duoed with each other throughout the year. So, again, not your regular backup team. This is a very, very scary team to be fighting right now, and a huge opportunity like this is not going to be taken for granted. And you can see the fact that they forced these great players to use their armored walls tells a lot. Let's jump in with Merstash and Malabuka here, though, as the Storm Surge is effectively active now. Great place to be rotating through here at the Grim Gate, but I'm not too sure, even after being picked up, if Merstash is going to have a chance to really get back into the swing of things, as the Rift Island's already gone up, and we already know who's playing for it.
Peterbot and Poyo did not even wait a moment's notice. As soon as the Rift Island spawned in, these two were prepped and ready to go. Peterbot already taking advantage, putting some pressure onto teams that are just trying to rotate at the bottom of Rift Island. You know, teams like to try and utilize some of those rifts along the bottom, but again, when you have a team like Peterbot and Poyo, and they're not the only ones lurking either, Trashy and Threats as well, making their presence known. But keep in mind, Poyo, Peterbot, they've got that reveal medallion.
Yeah, they're going to be able to scout them out in just a couple of moments here. So Trashy and Threats will have a big, big problem here. The hold up, King and Phaser talk about problems. Are pushing down into the EU duo. Now, there's something that we know about King, is that he's not someone you want to face in a box fight. What he's managed to do all throughout this week is instill fear into every duo. He has challenged players in the practice rooms back to back and has been the most successful.
But the way that you're mentioning that, it's all about the solos, and this is a duos game here, MDF. King trying to see if he can get a little bit of revenge damage onto Reason or Badil, but currently, Germans, they're the ones holding height, and King, he's gonna have to start burning through some of these small shield potions, and the real issue is once those shields crack, Badil, Reason, more than close enough to hear it. but they also need the damage, so the key is inevitable.
Yeah, both sides are extremely aware that this is a fight for Surge right now, and should King's team get a tag, the Surge is gonna flip. They are the team quite literally above them, and it doesn't really get much closer than this, and this is the most opportunistic time for King to take down a duo here. But Reason, there it is. Opportunities start to shift here. Reason and Vidil now. Pressure starts to loom on them.
Craziest part to think about too is that they've still got to watch their backs because Rift Island just lurking in the distance, slightly higher elevation than themselves. Peterbot Boyle, they were definitely trying to see if they could track down anybody for some additional tags, knocks, elims, ideally, but one of these teams has got to get a go on here, MDF. They can't afford to just sit idle. It's either fight or get eliminated.
Here it comes. I'm seeing two shots coming from both sides. Reason goes for it first. Vadiel on the other side doing an excellent job, but a trade comes out. King's weak, and he's going to be the first to fall. Reason and Vadiel come out on top, and even then, it's just enough to stay alive for now.
Crazy though when you think about how many teams are getting caught inside of these box fights, inside of the Storm itself. Merstash, Malibuca, they're just on a recovery tour currently, and it's incredible to think that they're still 156 above that damage threshold, despite that hiccup of Malibuca having to make the reboot van play in the first place. Wax and Ping though, they seem like they're primed and interested potentially, but instead it's just going to be heading to the top of Rift Island. Malibuca might get faced though. He wants more damage.
Little does he know, though, there is Trashy and threats up here. Team Xset right now still lurking nearby. I'm very curious as to why they haven't gone yet. And we might just find out here soon if they end up opening the box and taking fire. But no, Malibuca takes flight first. And he's going to get pretty far off. Will it be enough,
There's no
Taco?
way.
It's not looking like the math is going to math here, as Malibuca is going to be the first to fall. He tries to get as far as possible. Merstash will have to land on him and save him now.
The problem though is that we're looking at 2 tick zones currently. Monster, Merstash, he can try his best effort, but I fear he might meet a similar fate, because even if he makes it into this next edge of zone, he's still gonna have to deal with all the teams that are already based up, situated, and ready to take advantage of the players that are late straggling in.
Take a look at this refresh from Vino and Clicks now, as they managed to find themselves a little bit of a cachet from some leftover action between Casper and Prism.